freedom?
Some people ask if there are Chinese illegal immigrants who went to the US not for benefits but for freedom.
Hello amazing viewer, excited to have you on Smart Comfort for Life. I bring to you compilations of TikTok and Red Note videos for educational purposes. You're new here, do not hesitate to subscribe. It's free of charge. And to my returning viewers, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for keeping it up here. You've heard the question. So I've been sharing videos about the beautiful futuristic looking cities in China, and there has been this question that has been coming up regularly, often, should I say. Is a claim from Americans that there are Chinese who are leaving China in search for freedom in their country.
Isn't there any Chinese illegal immigrant who smuggled into the US for the sake of freedom?
To be honest, although they are few in number, there indeed are such people. This video is 5 minutes long and tells the story of what a Chinese person who went to the US in search of freedom experienced over a 2-year period. I hope you can watch it patiently. This person is Wang Weiheng, nicknamed Donut. He is one of the most well-known Chinese illegal immigrants who smuggled into the US. He was detained due to domestic violence against his ex-wife and conflicts with the police after disturbing a nearby kindergarten with a loudspeaker. During his detention, his cryptocurrency crashed, leaving him bankrupt. He thus believed that this was due to the lack of freedom in China, and he came to intensely hate the Chinese government. As a result, he spent $40,000 to smuggle into the US. When he first arrived in the US, he was extremely excited, believing that he had obtained the freedom he had been pursuing.
甜甜圈真好吃，好开心啊！我真喜欢美国。共产党，我操你妈！真开心，真自由，自由的空气就是他妈的香甜。
However, not long after, he found that the prices in the US were extremely high, and he quickly used up his meager savings. He borrowed money to buy a second-hand car to work as a ride-hailing driver and slept in the car to save money. He started posting videos complaining that working in the US was too tiring and that life was extremely difficult.
我到现在依然睡在车里。我今天工作了他妈13个小时还是14个小时，我只赚了40多块钱。可能每天工作10个小时，甚至他妈多的13、14个小时。但是说句实在话，我很累。 累得我有时候他妈的喘气都觉得在浪费能量，你知道吧？喘不过来气。
Due to the hard work, his waist developed problems. He went to the hospital for help, but the doctor just took a look at him, didn't provide any treatment, and instead sent him a bill of over $5,000.
我去了急诊之后，你就告诉我15分钟时间，然后你就看了看，什么检查也没做，就看了一下我的那个后背，然后摸了一下我的骨头，你就收我5670美元。我操你，是不是讹人？讹人是不是？我操，他妈的医院不能碰了啊！啊！我到现在我他妈不仅没存钱，我他妈还欠钱。我到现在我他妈快1年了，我他妈还借了别人500多。你妈了个靶子！我操你妈的！
Later, he had a minor fender bender accident. Since he didn't have insurance, the other party demanded $11,000 in compensation from him.
讲一下前几天我撞车啊，当时我撞车的时候是，我开着一辆那个帕萨特，然后我撞了一辆2015年的那个本田 Civic， 然后就蹭了一下对方保险杠，他还说他找了修理厂，然后修理厂给他报价是11000美金，你一辆2015年的 Civic 撑死也就他卖1万美金，对吧？你开口你跟我说你修花1万多美金，我操，你把老子当傻子？
He couldn't afford to pay this amount, and eventually he lost his car. From then on, he became homeless and lived on the streets. During that time, he was driven away by the police countless times, and was also robbed and beaten by other homeless people after experiencing all these things. He believed that these misfortunes must be the fault of the Biden administration at that time. He thought that Biden must have been bribed by China to treat him like this. So he posted videos fiercely criticizing Biden and the Democratic Party.
Joe Biden! You are Chinese spy! And Nancy Pelosi! You are Chinese spy!
At the same time, he also thought that Trump was worthless but just a helpless choice. Because of this video and some other things, he offended some Chinese immigrant agencies. They beat and threatened him. Later, he disappeared from the internet for a while. When he reappeared on the internet recently, it was found that he had completely gone crazy. He suspected that the whole world was full of Chinese spies. Besides cursing the Communist Party of China and the Democratic Party, he also fiercely criticized the US and American laws, believing that no one in humanity was trustworthy, and the only one he could believe in was Jesus. So this is the end of typical Chinese person who smuggled into the US not for benefits but simply pursuit of freedom. After seeing the current situation in the US, they either return to China disappointed or, like this person, go completely crazy because they can't accept the reality. So, American friends, compared with the propaganda of the American media about Chinese illegal immigrants seeking freedom, does this person's experience match your perception of the US better?
I am going to give my 2 cents on this after we've watched this video, because there are so many people who also have a bad perspective of the United States in the sense that they view Americans as lazy. So this is another Chinese who thought that Americans could be lazy. You know, there's this thing about the United States that is quickly spreading, that because everything that the US does, people tend to take it as a flex. So I've heard people from my continent, from Africa, speaking of Americans being the best because they have multiple jobs. And they are telling us that we can't make it if we don't have multiple jobs as well, because that's how the United States is surviving. So you will find that you have one job, but you cannot sustain yourself, and people will have to put you in mind that the United States is living the life due to the multiple jobs that they do. So everyone should go that route. Let's watch this other experience. This lady, I love her content. She's a successful Chinese American in America. She went to the United States when she was young. She successfully bought a home, but still her life isn't the best. Even with having her house, with the insurance that she has to pay and also maintenance of the house, she's always sharing tips on how she's living on a budget. Even meals, when she does her meal preps, it's always that she's minimizing her costs so that she doesn't end up homeless, even having a home. So check this with me as well.
Meal prep with me while I yap about how expensive home ownership is. If you are feeling behind financially and feel like you won't ever be able to afford a house, I'm here to assure you, owning a house doesn't have that much benefit over renting, if not worse. First of all, the housing market bloom has been over. If you plan on buying a house for the sake of investment, it's not a good idea anymore. When I bought this house, the previous owner sold the house double the price of when they bought it. But after I bought the house, the price didn't go up much, and selling a house costs money, so I would probably end up making no money if I sell the house. Second, the maintenance is a money sucker. My house doesn't have any major issue to start with, but my money keeps flying out of my pockets. I had rats in my garage a while back, and pest control costs $1,500. I also have a big tree next to my house, and during windy nights, I couldn't sleep because the branches keep dropping onto the roof, and I had anxiety over being unalive by the tree falling onto my house. So I paid over $1,000 for the arborist to trim the tree. With inflation, hiring someone to fix something is getting exponentially expensive. Yes, I have a fixed mortgage, but the cost of owning a house is still heavily subjected to inflation. Third, keeping the house and the yard clean is a time sucker. When I first bought this house, I was so excited to the big backyard and I thought I achieved my American dream. But to realize yard work and cleaning was extremely painful. As a frugal girl, I did my own yard work for the first 2 years to find out I couldn't handle it anymore. The rate of getting disorder is way faster than my rate of cleaning up. My yard was looking worse and worse over time. I work more than 9 to 5, so I can't spend another 5 hours a week to do yard work. So I have to pay someone to do yard work, which is another expense. That's why I have to be frugal, because I have a house that costs a lot of money. Finally, I feel like I have to be stuck at one location. If I get laid off, I might need to get a job somewhere else, which means I need to sell the house, and it's a hassle to sell the house with the market being cooled down. Yeah, so don't worry about the traditional milestones. Don't listen to what your family says. It's totally okay to not own a house. I don't understand why Americans get the reputation of being lazy. Before I moved to the US, everyone around me, including me, believe Americans have their life on easy mode. We believe they have a very relaxed school curriculum. Going to school was just having fun. After they graduated from school, they will miraculously get a job that pays a lot, even they just chill at work most of the time. After work, they drive their big truck home, sitting on the couch, eating fast food in front of the TV, and then they go to bed at 9 p.m. After I came to the US, I realized that was far, far, far from the truth. The college curriculum was hard. Everyone around me was motivated and hardworking. I have to work my butt off to get good grades. Interestingly, in Asian countries, parents pressure their kids extremely hard until they get into college. So once the kids got accepted into college, the parents would stop pushing them and they would just stop working hard completely. I was surprised by how hardworking American college students are. After I entered the workforce, of course, I quickly learned that working in the US is not chilled at all. The only chill jobs are the jobs that don't pay enough to survive. First of all, Americans wake up very early to go to work. A lot of them wake up at 5 a.m. There is already heavy traffic at 6 a.m. That's why they go to bed at 9 p.m. Second, we don't have the same convenience as in Hong Kong in terms of accessing to cheap labor. In Hong Kong, people hire maids from the Philippines and Indonesia at an incredibly low price to watch their kids, do all of the houseworks and cookings. A lot of people does not have simple survival skills because of that. In the US, we have to do everything by ourselves unless you are extremely rich. In the weekends, we need to do house cleaning, house maintenance, and DIY house projects because hiring contractors on everything is too expensive. I also need to run errands, do meal preps, and I feel like I'm always on the go, 24/7 as an American. I don't understand why people called Americans lazy.
It's honestly so sad how America grooms people into being fat, lazy, and depressed. This is not an attack on American people, let me be clear about that. This is an attack on the American way of life as we know it currently. We should be able to walk a few blocks for our groceries, or even go outside and get produce from street vendors, fresh produce. Did y'all know that produce in America is usually healthier for you frozen than if you get it fresh at the grocery store? We should be able to walk everywhere. That shouldn't be just set to a few certain cities and then you're still disconnected from other cities because you can't get on a train to go other places. We shouldn't make it so cheap and easy to go get food. Like, fast food should not be a normal thing, but for some people, that's all they can either afford, or that's the only thing that's convenient enough for them because people are also so busy here. There's no such thing as work-life balance unless you're poor. And then because you stay in your cars, you have no socialization when you're walking on the streets. And again, there are outliers, outlier neighborhoods, outlier cities, but that's not the norm here. So then because of lack of physical activity, lack of the nutrients you need to feel healthy, and lack of socialization and connection, you end up so depressed and you just can't feel right physically. And then you in turn go and buy shit that you don't need, try to fill the void that just being around people would fill, that just going on a walk would fill. I can feel like I'm on the edge of a literal mental breakdown and go on a walk and be like, wow, I'm just so overdramatic. Like, sometimes all you need to feel better is physical activity, is vitamins, you know, fiber. Literally, the gut-mind connection is so important. Or you just need to be around people.
So what's my take on all this? For me, from the videos that I've seen about China, I can compare China to an old wise man. An old wise man who has lived long, old wise, or being old with wisdom, and who is gathering his children and tell them, I've lived all these challenges, and guys, I understand. So guys, the rules I'm setting for you are for your benefit. They're for your good. I don't want to go through the path I've gone through. So, but also, he tells you that old wise man, who is China in this case, and tells you, you either follow or not follow. Like, you have the freedom to choose, You have the freedom to choose the good life with restrictions that are good for you, or go out there and explore. Another thing, there are so many people who believe that Chinese are not allowed to leave their country. There are Chinese who aren't allowed to leave the country in some cases. If they have some things to do with the government, they're still maybe following on some stuff. Like, in every country, there are people who are detained. They can't leave the country if there's something going on. So not every mistake in China is deadly. I must mention that, because so many people believe that Chinese are not allowed to leave their country, and they are afraid to leave the country. So you can do these minor mistakes in the country, but if you really want to be crazy, go out there. This wise man of China has not only gone to school, but he has also gone through life, and he's setting examples for his children. Guys, work hard, pursue your studies. He's leaving you to choose. China is raising its citizens the same way I was raised. When my father was raising me, he taught me the right way to go, and he left me to have the free choice. When I reached university, it was for me to make the choices for my life. There are things he wanted me not to do, but I ended up doing them, and I learned from those mistakes. So you've seen that you can really be free in America if you choose to be free. For me, the definition of true freedom is to do what is right, and having a country that gives you an opportunity for you to live freely. There's a comment I read here in the comment section that says, in China, we believe that everyone who is willing to work shouldn't starve. Either they are working or not. As long as they're willing to work, they shouldn't starve. And I love that. I love that, because there's so many people who are willing to work, but they don't have jobs. I've seen so many videos of jobless Chinese people. When they show their morning routine, I'm like, they have food on their tables. Gosh, I'm like, no, why? Guys, they're living good. There's even a Japanese that I saw recently. Welcome to a day of my life as a Japanese in China, jobless Japanese in China. And the life they're living, I'm like, no, I can't live like this if I don't have a job, if I don't hustle. I hope this video was beneficial to you. I don't know what's the meaning of freedom to you. You've seen an instance of someone who was searching for freedom, and I think they were just looking for freedom to spend the money, or I really don't know, and they really spent it good. It's so unfortunate that the story has ended in such a sad mode, and it's so unfortunate. I don't know what's the rest. I don't know where he ended up, but you can see what freedom can do. There are two words in French that says liberté et libertinage. Liberté is freedom with restrictions, with few restrictions. It's not really putting you in a cage, but libertinage is you being free to even go and treat yourself. Like, no restriction. So you are free to do everything for yourself. Anyway, I don't know which one have you seen here. Like the video for recommendations, subscribe if you're new here, share your thoughts in the comment section. Let's interact, guys. I love interacting. You can see the way I interact with you in the comment section.